Hey guys, HDvee here and welcome to a brand new video. Today we've got quite a few things to go over for Pokemon Legends ZA. We have some release date rumors and hints to take a look at, and as well as that, we have some other rumors to go over for the upcoming Pokemon game. There's a lot of stuff to break down and get into today though, so if you're excited for the video, as always, make sure to drop a like down below. Let's try and hit 500 likes, it really helps out. Leave a comment with your thoughts on anything we cover in today's video. Subscribe if you're brand new, ring the notification bell. With all of that out of the way, let's get into the video. And I really hope that you enjoy. So, starting things off, let's take a look at the release date rumors and hints for Pokemon Legends ZA. So this was a post by Soul Silverart talking about when we could expect to see the next game, but we also have some things from Nintendo, and then we also have a rumor to go over as well at the end of the video. So like I said, a lot of stuff to get into, but either way, this is the first thing to take a look at. We have Soul Silverart here saying, so when will Pokemon Legends ZA release in 2025? I think the implication of a 2025 game being announced on Pokemon Day 2024 is that it will release early 2025 and most likely before Pokemon Day 2025. So this does make a lot of sense. So the first thing obviously is that Legends Arceus released in January 2022, right before the Pokemon Day Presents in 2022, which of course is when we got Scarlet and Violet announced, and that is obviously was released in November 2022. And then now obviously we have this being announced on Pokemon Day 2024, so it makes sense for it to release in January 2025, and then we have the Pokemon Day Presents 2025, which will announce something new, whether that is Generation 10 or different games or whatnot. That's most likely going to be the case if that is the pattern that they are following. However, though, they might not follow that pattern. You know, this game generally could come out November 2025, and Pokemon Day 2025, that presents could just show more information about this game, and then this could be like the only thing we get. And then obviously in 2026, we could get Generation 10 for the 30th anniversary. Now, I don't think that's going to be the case because that is like one Pokemon game in like nearly 3 years. So I still am on the kind of team saying that we are going to get Generation 5 remakes this year, or Generation 2 remakes, or some sort of outsourced Pokemon game this year. That'll be the 2024 game. We then get Legends ZA probably releasing in 2025 January, and then we get the Pokemon Day Presents, and then we get something else. But if we do get something released this year, then I could also see Pokemon Legends ZA releasing November 2025, if that makes sense. There's a lot of stuff, a lot of numbers and years I've just thrown at you there, but hopefully that makes a lot more sense. But that's kind of like the idea right now. If we don't get a game this year, then it's more likely to be January 2025. If we do get a game this year, it could very well be like November 2025 and then Generation 10 2026. They then go on to say, why make Pokemon Legends ZA the big announcement for Pokemon Day 2024 instead of doing that on Pokemon Day 2025? What are they going to show on Pokemon Day 2025 now? If it's just going to be Pokemon Legends ZA news again, why not leave that surprise / hype for the year that it will be in the spotlight? Also, the Pokemon Company doesn't usually reveal a game years in advance. Historically, it's usually been the same year it's coming out. So this is another good point, obviously. They are saying, you know, if it was going to be coming out late 2025, why would they not just announce it on the Pokemon Day Presents 2025? That's a really good point as to why it is probably going to release before the Pokemon Day Presents in 2025, around January time. And hopefully it is anyway. That is, you know, when the other Legends game came out. There's not a lot to go off in terms of patterns because we've only had one Legends game before. But if this also comes out in January, then it's kind of safe to assume that all future Legends games are going to be coming out in like a January kind of time period. But that is a very, very good point about the fact, you know, why would they not just announce this in 2025 if it's coming out late 2025? Because otherwise, yeah, what would they show on Pokemon Day, you know, next year? If Gen 10 is coming out 2026, then yeah, what would we be getting next year instead? They then go on to say, the way I see it is Game Freak's Team B has been working on this game since maybe even before Pokemon Legends Arceus released in 2022. So if you weren't aware as well, Game Freak is kind of split up into two teams. We have Team A and Team B. And Team A usually works on like the proper main series stuff like New Generations, everything like that. And then Team B usually works on other kind of things like Legends Arceus and things like that. Before, they would also work on like remakes, but now it looks like all remakes are going to get outsourced now with Pokemon Works and Ilka and stuff like that. That looks to be the thing they're doing. So Team A is still going to be working on Generation 10. Team B going to be working on like the Legends games and stuff. And then the remakes all get outsourced, which is another reason as to why like, it's fine getting a game every single year, because we have literally got 3 different teams now, each working on a different game. You know, Team A are going to release a game every, like, 3 or 4 years. But, you know, in the years that they're not releasing a game, Team B may release a year. Or, like, the Pokemon Works team might release a game. So, even though I understand the fact that people are like, oh my god, we should not be getting a Pokemon game every year because the quality is just going to be terrible, you have to remember that there is literally different teams working on different games, which is why, like, the quality should be better. It generally should be, because they're getting even more time to work on it. But yeah, I mean, that's just something else to kind of take into account. So we then have them saying it will be around 3 years of dev time from Pokemon Legends Arceus to when this game would release in early 2025. For people saying they're glad they took more time to make this would mean they actually had less time to make this game. I think this is especially true if there's no outsourced remake game in 2024. However, if there is a Pokemon Black and White remake game in 2024, I could see the possibility of Pokemon Legends ZA being released a bit later in 2025, but again, we run into the Pokemon Day 2025 issue. So obviously, this was what we were just talking about there. If we do get an outsourced game this year, it could have implications for the release date of Pokemon Legends ZA in 2025. But as Soul Silver also says here, we come up with the conundrum again of Pokemon Day 2025. Like, what is going to be shown in that presents? You know, if we get this year a Black and White remake, and then we get Legends ZA in 2025 January, you know, what are we going to get that presents in 2025? We really don't know. And it's not just that presents as well. We'd probably get presents in, like, August. So what would be in those 2 presents? We generally would have no idea. But obviously, if we get Black and White this year, and then Legends ZA late next year, obviously the presents would just keep showing stuff about Pokemon Legends ZA. And it kind of makes sense, like, to get a remake this year, and then Legends ZA next year, and then Generation 10 in 2026, because obviously it's the 30th anniversary, so that maybe is just what they're doing. But obviously that means we get no Johto stuff this year for the 25th anniversary of Johto. So there's a lot of things to kind of think about, but at the same time, I feel like we just haven't been shown everything yet. Like, I'm very, very confident we're going to get a game this year from all the kind of leakers and hints, and especially with the Pokemon Works information as well. Like, that's another massive green flag to a game this year. I think it's, like, crazy if we don't get something. You know, we can't just get Pokemon Pocket this year. I cannot see that being the case. They then go on to say, I guess they could not show us anything more about Pokemon Legends ZA until next Pokemon Day, and then finally give us a trailer and say it's coming out fall 2025, but I don't see that being the case. I don't think they'd do that, because they know it's, like, fresh in our minds. They will always show Pokemon Legends ZA stuff in, like, every presents, but let's say in the next presents they announce Generation 5 remakes, let's say it's in, like, August or something, they would obviously, like, reveal that kind of not early in the presents, because they go through all the mobile stuff, but they would, like, still talk about it. And then at the end, they would show maybe some gameplay of Legends ZA. Like, I don't think we'll get gameplay of Legends ZA until the next presents. But I think in that presents, we also could potentially get, like, Generation 5 remakes announced for this year. So that's also something to kind of take into account. I just don't see the Pokemon Company going from yearly game releases to going 2 years without a Game Freak game without making money too. So even if I'm wrong about all this, I think it will release earlier than fall 2025, maybe May, June 2025, or even September, since that's still close enough to making holiday sales. And then obviously we have this image as well with, like, Legends Arceus coming out in 2022, and then obviously Scarlet and Violet coming out in 2022. So yeah, it's a lot kind of riding on what we get this year. If we get nothing, then yeah, Legends EA is most likely going to be coming out in January. But if we do get something this year, it could definitely be pushed back a little bit in 2025. But again, why would they announce it now if it was going to get released late 2025? It just doesn't really make that much sense. We also have this from Nintendo as well. So Nintendo seemingly shifts from Friday to Thursday for game releases. So this could also have an impact on Pokemon games as well. They usually come out Friday, but it looks like they are now moving to Thursday for whatever reason. So Nintendo seemingly shifts from Friday to Thursday for game releases. Thursday is the new Friday. So there was a time when Nintendo would release their titles on Sunday, which was quite an unusual day to do so. I didn't actually know that. You know, every day is a school day. I did not know that. Eventually, Nintendo would shift their releases from Sunday to Friday, was again a day where new releases were few and far between. Now it seems Nintendo might be making another shift, and they're going even earlier in the week. While not officially announced by Nintendo, it does appear there's been a change in their release date strategy behind the scenes for whatever reason. It looks like Nintendo will be bringing their titles to market on Thursdays instead of Fridays. Upcoming releases from Nintendo, including Paper Mario, The Thousand Year Door, Luigi's Mansion 2 HD, and Endless Ocean Luminous have all been given Thursday release dates, which makes it seem more like a conscious decision than a coincidence. We've reached out to Nintendo for comment on the situation to try and get some insight, and if they provide us with a statement, we'll be sure to bring it to you. So, yeah, like nothing obviously crazy, but it just does look like, because obviously all Pokemon games were usually released on a Friday as well, so that could also be the case for these as well, where they do now get released on a Thursday. Taking a look at next January, I mean, I don't really know. If it does get released on a Thursday, it could be released on the 9th or the 16th or the 23rd or the 30th of January. It could get released on the 2nd as well, but that's probably a little bit too early. I think Arceus was released on like an 18th or a 19th or something like that. So, yeah, again, it's hard to kind of say, but we'll just have to wait to see if we get something this year. So that's all that. Finishing things today, we have a new rumor to go over for Pokemon Legends ZA as well. So this is obviously poked up on 4chan. So again, take it with a massive grain of salt. This is just kind of see it as fake until proven otherwise with 4chan rumors, because they are very bottom of the barrel, very unlikely to be true. So yeah, just think of it as fake until, you know, we get a bit more information. But this was posted on the, yesterday, on the 18th of March, and it's titled Pokemon ZA Leaks by Mr. Newsman. So I'm assuming this is a news guy that's got loads of information. But they also talk about how this game is going to get released in November 2025. So as many of you have heard, the Pokemon Company will publish Pokemon Legends next year in November 2025. So that obviously kind of, if this is true, does give us a bit more hope that we get a game this year. Like if we, for whatever reason, and like this year get like a confirmation that we're going to be getting Legends ZA like in November 2025, then that heavily implies we'd also be getting a game this year. I don't think we'll get the release date for a while though. I don't know if they'll shadow drop it. I think they shadow drop Legends Arceus release date, so they might do something like that again. But again, it could be in the next Presents where they just announce Gen 5 remakes, and instead of showing any gameplay for Legends ZA, they might just give us the release date or something like that. Very unlikely, but also something that could happen. They then go on to say the game development is still in its first baby steps, but they already have the story planned and the mechanics in mind as well. Here is what people told me. So you'd expect them to have the story planned and everything like that. I mean, especially like, according to this person, obviously it's coming out late next year. But if it does come out January 2025, whether this is true or not, it's probably not. But you'd expect them to have like quite a bit done already. Again, they probably didn't show any gameplay because it might be for the Switch 2, and they don't want to show anything like that because it might give something about the Switch 2 away. But that could just be one of many different reasons. So then go on to say, yes, there is a new legendary Pokemon in this game. It is Zygarde's counterpart thematically. So yeah, I personally don't think Zygarde will get anything this game, just like Arceus didn't really get anything in. I mean, it got something, but not like a brand new form or anything like that. I don't think Zygarde's going to get anything. I think the only forms we'll get for legendaries are Yveltal and Xerneas, and then we'll probably get a new legendary as well. They then go on to say, this game is a sequel of X and Y. The city is overpopulated. Your character receives missions from the city hall. You'll work as a pacifier between trainers and wild Pokemon that run havoc around the city. So, yeah, I'm assuming that like it's just going into anarchy or something like that, and you have to stop the Pokemon and people from just run riot. But again, I guess if it was based in the future, would Pokemon attack you? I guess if they were like going rogue, then they probably would. And then they go on to say, there are new Mega Evolutions. I think that's supposed to be there are 3 new Mega Evolutions, but I don't know to which Pokemon. Interesting. Jinx is the one that has the highest odds due to the home data mines. So that, for me, is a massive red flag. Like, how would you know there's 3 Mega Evolutions, but you wouldn't know which one? And then for them also to say Jinx is the one that has the highest odds due to home data mines, like, that just, it's the stupidest thing ever. Like, Jinx was data mined, yes, but it was also scrapped. Why would that then have the highest odds? I understand that they could always go back and get that Mega Evolution because they've already got like a lot of things done for it. But for this person to say there are 3 Mega Evolutions, I don't know why they are, but this one has the highest odds. Like, that just sentence completely contradicts itself. I just don't understand why they've even put that in there. There is a new evil team, Team Solar Flare. The team's plan is to awaken the new legendary Pokemon to mess up with the law of life and death. Okay, fair play. Sounds like a Pokemon you don't really want to wake up. You know, if there is a Pokemon that is all about the law of life and death, I'm gonna let him sleep. You know, I'm gonna let him get his 8 hours. I don't want to be dealing with that. It then goes on to say the Pokedex has a total of 201 Pokemon. So Central Kalos Pokedex plus 50 mons from previous and post-Gen 6 plus a new legendary. So obviously that is a very small Pokedex. X and Y is known for its small regional dex, but its actual full Pokedex is like one of the biggest, I think. So yeah, we got a lot of returning Pokemon in X and Y. We just didn't get any like really that many new Pokemon, but I feel like 201 is just way too little. Like, that is just not enough Pokemon. I could see it being at least 350. So that, for me, is another massive red flag. I just cannot see there only being 201 Pokemon. Like, if you take a look at, like, Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee, like, fair play, because that was just the Kanto game. This is a Generation 6 game. You know, there are hundreds of Pokemon that exist before Kalos. 201 is just so small. Like, ridiculous. I don't even know, like, the Central Kalos Pokedex plus 50 mons. Is there even... There might even be more than... I highly doubt it. But there might be a lot of Pokemon that were not in the Kalos Regional Pokedex in X and Y that are already shown in the trailer. Like, Pokemon like... I think... Hippopotas is in the Legends ZA trailer. Is that in the Regional Dex for X and Y? I can't remember off the top of my head. But there's Pokemon like that, you know, why would they show a lot of the plus 50 mons... from previous and post Gen 6 in the trailer already if there was only like 50 of them. Then they go on to say you have a greater control of your Pokemon due to the bond mechanic. You'll use them to cross obstacles. So I'm assuming that's something to do with like ride Pokemon maybe. Certain obstacles might be, you know, I'm assuming like surfing and stuff like that. Even though the surfing mechanic is probably not going to be used much because there is just literally rivers in this game. Like, that's all we can really see from a city. It's hard to think that there's going to be oceans and stuff when it's just based in a city, unless we go into the catacombs and there's like a massive kind of ocean part as well. Otherwise, yeah, I feel like water type Pokemon are not going to be, they're just going to be crammed in the rivers, man. And then they say that's all I know. So yeah, for me, this is probably false. I don't really believe this at all. There's not really a lot going for it. I don't really like anything about this either. I don't like the release date. I don't like the Pokedex size. I mean, I like the new Legendary, but I don't expect to see that anyway. There's not a lot of stuff that I like from this rumor, so hopefully it is false. But anyway, though, that is going to be everything for today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, please do consider hitting the like button down below. Let's try and hit 500 likes. It does really help out. Leave a comment with your thoughts on anything we covered in today's video. What are your thoughts on this rumor? What are your thoughts about Nintendo potentially shifting Friday releases to Thursday releases? And also, what are your thoughts on this information here as well? We spoke a lot about this, but I guess that there's a lot to talk about in terms of when it could come out, just simply because they've not really given us much, so it really could be any time. But when do you think Legends EA is going to release? Let me know your thoughts on that. But thank you for watching. Subscribe if you're brand new. Ring the notification bell for daily Pokemon content. Have a great rest of your day, and until next time, peace.